My 300 pounds fiancé sat me down and said I had to lose weight for our wedding photos because he wants to feel proud of his future bride. Can you imagine being told the person you're about to marry wants you to lose 30 pounds, not for your health, not for your happiness, but because he's worried you'll look heavy in wedding photos? Pause, voice tight with disbelief. That's what Dennis, the man I loved, told me. And what I did next, it completely shocked both of us. Dennis, we met at a work conference 4 years ago. He was just magnetic, funny, confident. He made me laugh until my stomach hurt. And honestly, I didn't care that he was a big guy. Bodies are just bodies, right? It's how someone treats you that truly matters. I was 140 pounds back then, a size 6. And Dennis? He constantly told me I was beautiful. He'd say he couldn't believe someone like me wanted to be with someone like him. 2 years later, he proposed at the restaurant where we had our first date, got down on one knee, cried real tears, said he wanted to spend forever making me happy. I said yes. I loved him. I truly thought he loved me, exactly as I was. Wedding planning started immediately, and it was a whirlwind. Dennis had opinions about everything. The venue, the caterer, the band, the navy and gold colors, even a guest list full of people I'd never heard of. I let him take the reins. He seemed so excited, and I wanted him to have his dream wedding. Then came the photographer. He spent 3 hours online, obsessing over packages, studying sample albums like it was a final exam. Spreadsheets, comparisons, editing options. I thought it was sweet how much he cared about capturing our special day. The night we paid the deposit, he sat me down at the kitchen table. My heart actually skipped a beat. Something important, he said. He started talking about the photos, how we'd look, how he wanted our album to be something we'd be proud of forever. Yes, I agreed, me too. Then he dropped the bomb. Voice sharp, memory clear. You need to lose weight. He said the camera adds 10 pounds. He didn't want me to look heavy. 30 pounds, he thought, should be enough. The wedding was 8 months away. Plenty of time, he said, and he'd already researched diets and gym memberships for me. My head spun. What was happening? I asked him to repeat it. He did, voice laced with bitter amusement, like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. Just want you to look your best, he insisted. Brides glow on their wedding day, and a little weight loss would make you glow brighter. All because he loved me and wanted the best for us. I swallowed, the taste metallic. Are you planning to lose weight, Dennis? Pause, he laughed. He actually laughed, like I'd made a hilarious joke. That's different, he said. Grooms didn't have to worry like brides did. Everyone would be looking at me. He would be fine in his tuxedo, flattering on all body types, he said. I stared at him. Dennis, you weigh 300 pounds. I weigh 140. By any standard, I'm not the one who needs to lose weight. He got defensive, said I was missing the point. It wasn't about health, it was about aesthetics. And then, voice drops colder, he said his mother agreed. His mother thought I could tone up. I asked when he'd discussed my body with his mother. Last week, apparently when they were looking at old photos. She'd noticed I'd gained a few pounds since we started dating. A perfect motivation for the wedding. But I hadn't gained a single pound. I was the same weight as the day we met. Still ran 3 miles every morning. Still did yoga. My body hadn't changed at all. Just how they saw it. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there, looking at this man I'd agreed to marry, realizing I didn't know him at all. Pause, intake a breath. I asked him one more question. Would you still marry me if I didn't lose the weight? He hesitated. A short, sharp exhale, that hesitation. It told me everything. He said he would still marry me, but he might be disappointed. He just wanted to be proud of his bride. He hoped I wouldn't be selfish about this. Voice firm, decisive. I took off my engagement ring. I placed it carefully on the table between us. Dennis stared at it, bewildered. What are you doing? He asked. I'm losing weight, I said. He looked confused. How much? About 180 pounds. It took him a few seconds. Then his eyes went from the ring to me, then back to the ring. That diamond caught the kitchen light, throwing tiny rainbows. I watched his face shift. Confusion, then something that looked like panic. He opened his mouth twice before any sound came out. When he finally spoke, his voice was high, tight, sharp. Are you being serious? Right now? I have never been more serious in my entire life. I told him he needed to leave our apartment tonight. I needed to think without him sitting across from me, trying to explain why asking me to lose 30 pounds was reasonable. He leaned back in his chair, so hard it scraped the floor. This is my home, too. I'm not going anywhere. I stood up, grabbed my purse, keys from their bowl by the microwave. They felt heavier than normal. I walked to the door, Dennis calling after me. Where do you think you're going? I didn't answer. I just walked out into the hallway and kept going. To my car. The drive to Felicia's apartment, 20 minutes, felt like hours. My hands were shaking on the wheel. Camera adds 10 pounds. Proud of his bride. The words looped in my head, a song I couldn't turn off. I sat in her parking lot for a full minute, shaking before I could move. Her apartment was on the 3rd floor. I took the stairs, needing to do something. When Felicia opened the door, she took one look at my face in her pajama pants and old college sweatshirt and just stepped aside. Pulled me inside, closed the door. Her apartment smelled like the vanilla candles she always bought. She guided me to the couch, then disappeared. Kettle, stove. She came back with 2 mugs and tea. I started talking, and once I started, I couldn't stop. Everything. The weight, the photos, his mother, his hesitation, taking off the ring. Felicia didn't interrupt once, just listened, refilling my tea. I woke up on her couch, neck stiff, phone buzzing. 17 missed calls from Dennis. A dozen texts. Apologies turning into accusations. Overreacting to a simple suggestion. Just trying to help you be your best self. Even another mention of his mother, wanting what was good for us. I put the phone face down, pressed my palms to my eyes. Felicia came out in new pajamas. Coffee, she asked. Yes, even though I rarely drank it. She made it in her French press, handed me a mug that said, nevertheless, she persisted. More texts from Dennis. Talk about this like adults. Childish. His mother is very upset. I turned off my phone, drank my coffee. Felicia made scrambled eggs at her small kitchen table. She asked what I wanted to do. I had no idea. She grabbed a napkin, a pen, and started a list. Bank account first, she wrote. Landlord. Lawyer, maybe. Then, underlined twice. Figure out what you actually want. She said I needed my own account before Dennis did something stupid with our shared money. Talk to the landlord about the lease, and most importantly, figure out what I wanted before he wore me down. Looking at that list, something shifted in my chest. I realized I'd been making myself smaller, in every way, to fit what Dennis and his mother wanted. I'd let him pick everything, laughed at jokes that weren't funny, agreed to things I didn't want because he was so sure. I'm done shrinking, I told Felicia. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I went back to the apartment at 11 a.m., knowing Dennis would be at work. His car wasn't there, but my hand still trembled turning the key. The dishes were still in the sink, the ring still on the table. I stared at it. The diamond looked smaller in the daylight. How had I ever thought it was beautiful? I pulled out 2 suitcases, packed clothes, my laptop, running shoes, family photos, my yoga mat, my favorite coffee mug, books, my journal. I looked around. How little of it was mine. The furniture was his. The artwork his mother's choice. The only things truly mine fit into 2 suitcases. I zipped them, walked out. Didn't look back at the ring. I was loading the 2nd suitcase when Dennis's car pulled in. He parked, got out before I could close the trunk. What are you doing? He asked. Getting some of my things. He wanted to talk about this like adults. He said I was unreasonable. He'd been thinking he realized he'd phrased things wrong, but his point was still valid. Brides want to look their best. He was just helping me achieve my goals. I never had a goal to lose 30 pounds, I said, my voice steady. My only goal right now is to get away from you, so I can think. Thinking is exactly the problem, he snapped. You're overthinking a simple conversation, turning it into a big dramatic thing. He was coming from a place of love. I closed my trunk, got in my car. He stood there, talking through the closed window. I could see his mouth moving, but I couldn't hear him anymore. I started the engine, backed out. He was still standing there. My sister, Imogen, called that afternoon. I told her everything. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I'm getting in my car right now. I'll be at Felicia's in 3 hours. I tried to tell her she didn't need to, but she insisted. She showed up in her pickup truck, hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. Do you still have a key to the apartment? She asked. Yes. Good, she said. We're getting the rest of your stuff. Back at the apartment, Dennis's car was gone. Imogen didn't waste time. She just started loading. My winter clothes, my kitchen stuff, my desk, my bookshelf, the lamp I bought at a garage sale. All the while, she muttered under her breath about men, about being 300 pounds, about his mother. Her anger on my behalf made me feel less crazy. Maybe I wasn't overreacting. The bank was busy Tuesday, but I waited. I need to open a new checking account, I told the woman. She just processed the paperwork like it was the most normal thing. I transferred half of our shared savings. The number on the screen was smaller than I wanted, but bigger than I'd feared. Signing those papers felt scary and right all at once. I walked out, holding my new debit card, feeling like I'd just taken the first real step toward something. Independence. Dennis showed up at Felicia's apartment Wednesday evening. No call. I was eating leftover Chinese food on the couch when I heard the knock. Felicia looked through the peephole, mouthed his name. I shook my head. She nodded, opened the door, but kept the chain lock on. I heard him, through the gap, asking to talk privately. Felicia told him I'd contact him when I was ready. He needed to respect my space. His voice got louder. This is ridiculous. She's manipulated by her friends. You're turning her against me. Felicia shut him down. That's not how any of this works. You need to leave now. Then a loud thud. He'd kicked her door frame. She closed and locked it. We sat there, listening to his footsteps fade. I met the landlord on Thursday. 50-something, reading glasses on a chain. She heard my story, nodded like she'd heard it 100 times. Lease wasn't up for 4 more months. Both of us were responsible. If one moved out, we needed a subtenant. She'd work with me. At least I had a practical goal now. Find a subtenant. Something concrete, instead of just feeling stuck between my old life and whatever came next. Back at work on Monday, I tried to act normal. Otto, a colleague, stopped by my desk. Coffee for himself. Asked if I wanted lunch. Sure. Saying no would make it weird. At the sandwich shop, he asked about wedding planning. My stomach dropped. He'd seen Dennis and me at the company party. Dennis, arm around me, marrying up. I took a bite of my sandwich to buy time. Wedding stress, I said. Nothing we can't handle. My voice sounded fake even to me. Otto just nodded, changed the subject. Grateful. I realized how many people at work knew Dennis. So many questions I wasn't ready to answer. My phone buzzed during a meeting. Text from Dennis. His mother wanted to meet. Clear up this misunderstanding. Help us get back on track. I stared at it. Someone asked about the quarterly report. I pretended I'd been paying attention. In the bathroom after, I reread the text. I knew. Dennis hadn't come up with the weight thing on his own. He'd been talking to his mother about my body for weeks, months. I blocked her number before I could talk myself out of it. I didn't need her explanations or manipulations. 3 more texts from Dennis, asking why I wasn't responding to his mother. Phone face down. Focus on work. The wedding planner called Wednesday morning. Cheerful. Professional. Final guest counts. I closed my office door. We're canceling everything. The cheer disappeared. She understood. These things happen. But most of our deposits were gone. The venue, past 90 days. The caterer, half no matter what. The band, their deposit. Only the photographer would refund us minus a fee. Over $8,000 gone. I told her to cancel anyway. Sick about the money, but I knew it was worth it. $8,000 to escape a marriage built on conditional acceptance? A bargain. Felicia called Thursday. You should talk to someone professional. Friends were great, but I needed real support. She'd found a therapist, Maya Lindsay, who took my insurance. Appointments available. I made the appointment while Felicia was still on the phone. Otherwise, I'd talk myself out of it. First session, Tuesday 4 p.m. Maya's office smelled like lavender. Younger than I expected. She asked what I thought my marriage would be like. I started talking about the wedding, the house, the kids. Maya listened. Then she asked what daily life with Dennis would be like. My mouth opened, then closed. I pictured it, constantly trying to meet standards that would keep shifting, just to keep me insecure. Spending my whole marriage wondering if I was thin enough, pretty enough, good enough. Maya wrote something, asked how that made me feel. Voice sad, a touch of wonder, sad. So sad that I almost signed up for that life. Friday afternoon, a voicemail notification. Dennis forwarded a message from his mother. Her voice, sharp and angry. I was selfish and immature, throwing away a good man over helpful suggestions. Dennis deserved better. I was making a huge mistake. Then her voice turned sickly sweet. So comfortable I'd become. She'd told Dennis months ago I'd let myself go after the wedding if I wasn't careful now. Just trying to prevent that. 2 minutes long. I listened twice. How could someone think like this? She'd been criticizing me for months, predicting I'd gain weight, planting the seeds for his demand. I deleted the message. I felt angry in a way I hadn't before. Saturday morning, coffee with Felicia. I told her about the voicemail. She got mad on my behalf, said things about Dennis's mother that made me laugh for the first time in days. Then she told me something a mutual friend said. Dennis's previous girlfriend also ended things suddenly. No one knew why. Dennis just said they grew apart. Felicia always thought it was weird. Now, she wondered if he'd done something similar. That night, I found Dennis's ex, Rachel, on social media. 2 towns over. It felt strange, contacting a stranger to ask about her relationship history. But I needed to know. Was this a pattern or was I just special? I introduced myself, explained I'd been engaged to Dennis, heard her relationship ended suddenly. Would she be willing to talk? I hit send before I could change my mind. Rachel responded the next day. Happy to meet for lunch. I got there first. Rachel arrived 10 minutes later. I recognized her. We ordered. Then she asked what happened. I told her about the weight, his mother, him laughing. Rachel nodded. None of it surprised her. Dennis pulled similar behavior with her. Wonderful and supportive at first. Then slow comments. Her job, not prestigious enough. Friends holding her back. Criticisms about her appearance. More makeup. Clothes too casual. Lose a few pounds, tone up. Always framed as wanting her to be the best version of herself. She tried for 6 months. Changed her hair, bought new clothes, joined a gym. Never enough. He always found something else. She finally left when she realized the best version would never be good enough. Voice strong, impactful. The point wasn't improvement. The point was control. Driving home, I felt validated. Not crazy. Not oversensitive. He'd done this before. But also so sad. For years wasted. If I'd known about Rachel sooner, maybe I'd have seen the signs. Left before the engagement, the planning, the life we built that I now had to dismantle. Piece by piece. I called Maya from my car, told her about Rachel. She listened. Then she said something that shifted everything. Recognizing the pattern now prevented you from wasting more years. She said some people stay in relationships like this for decades because they never get confirmation. I had it. Proof. Leaving was the right choice. That was worth celebrating, even if it hurt. The conference arrived 3 weeks later. Checking into the hotel, I saw Dennis across the lobby. My stomach dropped. I'd prepared, but seeing him made it too real. I turned towards the elevator, hoping to avoid him. But Otto appeared. Coffee before the first session? Yes. Having someone with me felt better. In the coffee shop, Otto ordered lattes. Didn't mention Dennis. Didn't ask about my personal life. Just work projects, sessions. His casual kindness helped. I'd been so focused on Dennis, I'd forgotten I had other people who cared. The first day went smoothly. The organizer kept her promise, separating us. I didn't see him again until the networking break. I was talking to someone when I saw Dennis walking toward me. My body tensed. But before he reached me, Otto stepped into his path. Started asking Dennis about a work project, in detail, needing a long explanation. Dennis had to stop. Otto was his colleague. Ignoring him would be rude. I watched, grateful. Otto kept him occupied for 15 minutes. By the time they finished, I was gone. I found Otto later. Thank you, I mouthed. He just shrugged. Everyone deserves colleagues who have their back. His comment made me realize I had more support than I thought. I'd been so focused on what I'd lost, I hadn't noticed what I still had. Home from the conference, I found a payment notice for the honeymoon. $6,000. Non-refundable. Due in 30 days. I called Dennis. He answered. Why didn't you cancel it? I asked. He forgot. With everything else going on. Forgetting is not an excuse, I said. You need to handle this. He said we should both pay half. I'm not paying for a honeymoon that's not happening because of your behavior. He said I was unreasonable. I hung up. I called the travel company. Booking was in Dennis's name. Only he could change or cancel. If payment wasn't received, it would go to Dennis the deadline. His responsibility. No response. I met with a lawyer. Her office, cluttered with files. I explained the honeymoon, the deposits, the security deposit from our old apartment that he owed me half of. She took notes, asked for proof, lease, emails, screenshots of his texts. She studied everything. 20 minutes, then looked up. We could draft a clear division of debts, offset what he claimed I owed against what he actually owed me. The security deposit alone covered most of what he said I owed for the venue. She typed up a document. The honeymoon was his responsibility. The wedding venue, split. Other deposits, similar. When she finished, Dennis actually owed me $300 more. A deep, satisfied breath, having it all written down in black and white, felt like breathing properly for the first time in weeks. I paid her, left with copies. My next therapy session, Maya asked why I let Dennis make almost every decision about our wedding. He seemed so excited, I wanted him to be happy. What did I want? I couldn't think of a single detail I'd advocated for. Maya asked if I felt grateful that he wanted to marry me. The question hit me hard. Yes. I felt lucky someone like him chose me. She asked what I meant. Confident, funny, successful. I sometimes wondered why he picked me. Maya pointed out I was also confident, funny, successful. It felt different, I said. She pressed. How? I realized I'd been performing gratitude for being chosen. He made me feel like I should be thankful. So, I didn't advocate for what I wanted. Afraid of seeming difficult. Or ungrateful. Maya asked if I thought I deserved opinions about my own wedding. A soft, almost whispered, of course, of course. But hearing myself say it, I knew I hadn't acted like I believed it. This pattern, she said, probably showed up elsewhere. All the times I agreed to things I didn't want. Stayed quiet when he made decisions. The wedding was just the biggest example of how I'd made myself smaller to keep him happy. I left therapy feeling like someone had turned on a light in a room I'd been sitting in for 4 years. I could finally see all the furniture I'd been tripping over in the dark. Imogen called that night. She'd found a studio apartment. Tiny. Kitchen, basically a hot plate. Bathroom, so small you could sit on the toilet and wash your hands. Rent was more, but it was available now. It was mine alone. I told her I'd take it. Saturday morning, Imogen and her truck. We loaded my stuff. Not much. Most furniture was his. My clothes, books, kitchen supplies, a small desk. She helped me carry everything up 3 flights of stairs. We spent the afternoon setting up. Bed against the wall, desk under the window. Clothes in the barely there closet. Then home goods. Curtains. Beige, gray, white, navy, then bright yellow. A pattern like sunshine. Dennis would have hated them. His mother would have said they were too loud. I bought them. Immediately. Imogen helped me hang them. When we finished, the whole apartment looked different. Brighter. Happier. Mine. I looked around this small, expensive space, chosen without anyone else's opinion. Voice filled with quiet joy. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt free. Sunday afternoon, grocery shopping. Pasta aisle. Someone said my name. Phineas. Dennis's best man. Or he was supposed to be. He asked how I was. Fine. I tried to move past him, but he stepped into my path. Dennis was torn up. Not eating, not sleeping. Maybe I should give him another chance. Everyone makes mistakes. Dennis really loved me. I looked at Phineas. What had Dennis told him? Do you know what Dennis said to me? Phineas looked uncomfortable. Something about wedding planning disagreements. I told him. Dennis demanded I lose 30 pounds. So I wouldn't look heavy in our wedding photos. Phineas's face changed. I didn't know that, he said. He should be torn up about what he said to me, not about facing consequences. Phineas was quiet. Then, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that's what happened. He said if someone told him to lose weight, he would have reacted the same way. I appreciated his honesty. I needed to finish shopping. He moved his cart. Coffee with Felicia Tuesday. She had an expression I couldn't read. Then she told me. Dennis's previous girlfriend, Rachel, also ended things suddenly. No one in their group knew why. Dennis just said they grew apart. Felicia always thought it was weird. Now, she wondered if he'd done something similar. I went home. Laptop. Found Rachel. Messaged her. We had lunch. Her story validated everything. The control disguised as care. It was a pattern. Validated but also sad. For years wasted on someone so predictable. But Maya's words came back. Recognizing the pattern now prevented you from wasting more years. That was worth celebrating. The professional conference. I knew he'd be there. Auto-diverted Dennis. Talking about budget reports, timeline adjustments, giving me an escape. Everyone deserved colleagues who had their back, he said. I'd been so focused on what I lost, I hadn't noticed what I still had. The honeymoon notice. $6,000. Due in 30 days. Non-refundable. He forgot to cancel. Wanted me to pay half. I hung up. Called the travel company. Booking in his name. His responsibility. My lawyer confirmed it. Dennis actually owed me money. The relief was immense. Maya and I talked about why I let him make all the wedding decisions. I wanted him to be happy. Then she asked if I felt grateful he wanted to marry me. Yes, someone like him. I realized I'd been performing gratitude, afraid of seeming difficult. I'd made myself smaller. The wedding was just the biggest example. She'd turned on a light in a dark room. I started running longer distances, pushed myself, found an advanced yoga studio, loved feeling my muscles shake, my breath come hard, knowing I was getting stronger. Every mile felt like shaking off the shame he tried to put on me. He wanted me to change my body for his standards. I was changing it for myself. My body was mine. It had always been mine. I just forgot. The truth about our breakup spread. Some ghosted me. Others reached out. People saw it. Dennis speaking over me. His comments about other women. I felt stupid for not noticing. But grateful others had been paying attention. Coffee with college friends. I asked them directly. Did Dennis ever say anything weird? Yes, they admitted. Small, critical comments, disguised as jokes. New hairstyle. Really eating dessert? Certain colors, not flattering. They'd laughed uncomfortably. Another friend said Dennis commented she was lucky to have him because most guys his age wanted someone younger and thinner. She almost said something, but feared drama. They apologized for not speaking up. Not their fault, I said. I was the one who needed to see it. And I finally did. Dennis sent a 12-paragraph email. We need to talk. Everything he did right. How I was throwing it away over one mistake. All the nice things. One comment about wanting you to look your best, he wrote, and you're using it to destroy everything. He called me unfair, unreasonable, selfish. If you really loved me, he wrote, you'd forgive this one mistake and come back. I drafted responses, deleted them, called Maya. She read the email. Manipulation, she said. Rewriting history. Make himself the victim. The clearest boundary you can set is silence. Not responding would show him I was done. I thanked her, deleted all drafts. A week later, a letter arrived. From his mother. 3 pages. Breaking her son's heart. Ruining his life. Dennis is a good man. Deserved a wife who appreciated him. I was cruel. Refusing to work things out over such a small issue. Women should be grateful for male attention, willing to maintain themselves. My generation was too selfish. I would regret this decision when older and alone. Dennis told her I refused to even discuss his concerns. I read 2 pages, walked it straight to the trash. A work friend's wedding. I almost didn't go, afraid it would hurt, but I went. The bride looked radiant. Her groom looked at her like she was perfect, exactly as she was. He cried, said he loved every part of her. A soft, contented sigh. Relief, not jealousy. Grateful I didn't marry Dennis. Certain I'd made the right choice. At the reception, I danced, ate cake, celebrated real love. Drove home, surprisingly okay. Otto and I had lunch. He went through something similar. An ex who constantly criticized him. Dress better, work out, be more social. Just trying to help him improve. 2 years to rebuild his confidence. He still heard her voice. Sharing our experiences made me feel less isolated. Hardest part, he said, realizing how much of himself he changed. He stopped hobbies, pretended to like things she liked. By the time we broke up, I barely recognized myself. I understood completely. We went back to work, grateful for someone who got it. 5 months after the breakup, Dennis showed up at my apartment building. I was coming home from a run. He said he'd been in therapy. Understood now. Comments about my weight, harmful, controlling. Could we try again? He'd changed. Never make me feel that way again. For a moment, I was tempted. Familiarity. The apology I'd wanted. Part of me wanted to believe. Part of me missed the good parts. Part of me was tired of being alone. But then I looked at him. I remembered. Him laughing. His mother's letter. For years of making myself smaller. Voice firm, unwavering. Dennis, I appreciate you working on yourself. But I'm not interested in getting back together. Some things can't be unsaid. Some trust can't be rebuilt. He stared like I'd spoken a foreign language. Unfair, he said, not giving him a chance. I went to therapy for you. I did the work. You owe it to me to at least try. The anger in his tone proved he hadn't changed. A person who truly understood wouldn't demand I reward him for basic self-improvement. I stayed calm, wished him well. My decision was final. He tried to hug me. I stepped back. The hurt on his face almost made me feel guilty. Almost. Then I remembered. I was not responsible for managing his emotions anymore. He left, without a word. I closed the door, sat on the floor, hands shaking, whole body shaky, but my mind was certain. I texted Maya, held my boundary, felt terrible and right at the same time. She responded immediately. Proud face emoji. That's exactly what growth looks like. 6 months after the breakup, the final paperwork for our shared assets was done. Lawyer's office. Documents spread out. Where to sign. Itemized. Fair. Savings split. Furniture divided. Security deposit allocated. I signed each page. Each signature felt like closing a door that needed to be closed. I walked out, officially financially independent from Dennis. Less money, yes. Our combined incomes had made life easier, but more peace than I'd had in years. Worth it. I transferred my savings to my personal account. Watching that number appear, something settled. I was building my own life now. 3 weeks later, the promotion. My manager said directors were impressed with my work at the conference. New position, significant raise, better apartment, savings for things I wanted. I accepted, celebrated with Felicia and Imogen. Felicia said she knew I'd get it. Imogen raised her glass, said she was proud. Otto stopped by my desk. He'd put in a good word. My work during the conference impressed them. My career was mine. My success was mine. Nobody could take that away. I used some of the wedding money to book a solo vacation. A week in Colorado. Hiking, reading, eating whatever I wanted. Dennis always planned tours, schedules. I booked a cabin. No plan. Just do whatever felt right. First morning, coffee on the porch. Nobody asking what I wanted. Nobody suggesting activities. I hiked a trail. For hours. Pine forest streams. Stopped whenever I wanted. Lunch at a diner. Pancakes at 2 p.m. Every decision was mine. The freedom felt like finally breathing fully after years of holding my breath. I came back from vacation lighter. More myself. Unpacked. Realized I hadn't checked to see if Dennis viewed my social media in over a week. Opened the app. He hadn't looked at mine either. The mental space he used to occupy had shrunk to almost nothing. I was filling it with hobbies, friendships, career goals that were completely my own. Pottery class, book club, plans with coworkers, building a life that reflected who I actually was, not who someone else needed me to be. Maya and I discussed ending therapy. I was doing so much better. I'd grown, learned to trust my instincts. I wanted to keep seeing her less often, maintain progress, choose partners who added to my life, not required me to shrink. I started casually dating. Nothing serious. Coffee walks. But I noticed a difference in myself. I stated my preferences clearly. Guy suggested a restaurant I didn't like. I said so, offered an alternative. Joke not funny. Didn't laugh to be polite. Something felt off? Ended dates early. No apologies. No explanations. I trusted my instincts. Didn't override them to be agreeable. It felt powerful. Imogen called me one Saturday. Breakfast. She said watching me leave a bad situation gave her courage to set better boundaries in her own life. Her boss had been taking advantage. Now, she told him she wouldn't be available outside scheduled hours. He wasn't happy, but he accepted it. Seeing me choose myself helped her realize she could do the same. Her comment made me realize my choice rippled outward. That meant something. 9 months after the breakup, I ran a half marathon. Trained for 12 weeks. My body got stronger. My mind clearer. Race day. Cold and sunny. Starting line. Gun. First few miles easy. Mile 7 legs hurt. Mile 10 hard. Body wanted to stop. 3 more miles. I'd trained. Built this strength myself. Crossed the finish line. 13.1 miles. Metal around my neck. Legs shaking. Lungs burning. Amazing. That finish line felt like proof. My body carried me. Not to meet anyone else's standards. Not to look good in photos. Just to see what I was capable of. 2 weeks later, Otto's barbecue. Friends getting together. I showed up with wine. Nervous. What to expect? Otto introduced me to 6 people. Warm. Asked about my running, my job, what I liked to do for fun. Nobody mentioned how I looked. Nobody commented on what I ate. One woman talked about training for a triathlon. A guy told funny dating stories. I sat there, eating potato salad, drinking beer. This was what normal felt like. People who didn't think bodies were topics for public discussion. People who cared about what you did and thought, not how you appeared. I went home lighter. Friends who liked me for reasons that had nothing to do with my appearance. Rachel messaged me 3 weeks later. How was I doing? Coffee on Saturday. She looked happy, healthy. I told her about therapy, the promotion, the half marathon. She listened, nodded, proud. She told me about her healing. Therapy, book club, painting again. She learned to recognize red flags. Met someone new. Someone who never once suggested she change anything. Someone who loved her exactly as she was. She showed me photos of her engagement ring. Her face glowed. Finding someone who celebrated her, instead of critiquing her, taught her what love should feel like. Her happiness gave me hope. If she could heal, maybe I could too. Early summer, I moved into a larger one-bedroom. Promotion salary, more space, better neighborhood, 2 weeks decorating, bright blue couch, art that made me smile, a reading nook by the window. Every choice reflected my taste. No compromise. Didn't have to consider Dennis or his mother. The apartment was mine. Coming home felt like returning to myself. My yellow curtains, blue couch, proud of the space I created. This was independence. 10 months after the breakup, Dennis sent a text. My stomach dropped for a second. Dating someone new. Hoped we could be friendly. Wanted things to be comfortable. I read it twice. Nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just closure. I typed a polite response. Wished him well. Preferred professional interactions only. Deleted his number. That door didn't need to be open. Even a crack. Whatever we had was finished. I was building something new. Felicia's birthday party. Rooftop space. 40 people. I wore a dress I bought because I loved it. Friends from different parts of my life. Mixing. Otto and Imogen talking. My running group by the bar. I grabbed a drink. Joined conversations. Laughed. Made dinner plans. Halfway through it hit me. I was genuinely happy. Not just okay, not just healing. Actually happy with my life. Not thinking about what I lost. Only thinking about what I was building. The realization made me smile, so why'd Felicia asked what was so funny. I told her I was just happy. She hugged me, said she could tell. My last regular session with Maya. What did I learn? Pause, reflective. I learned that love shouldn't require me to change my body or make my voice smaller. The right person would celebrate who I am, instead of critiquing who I'm not. I learned I'm worth that kind of love. Learned to trust my instincts. Leaving a bad situation takes courage, but staying in one takes even more. Maya smiled, said I'd done important work. I had the tools to handle whatever came next. I left her office, feeling ready. One night in August, I looked at old photos with Dennis. Expected to feel sad. Instead, grateful. Grateful I discovered his conditional love before we married. Grateful I had the courage to leave. Grateful for a year of growth. Those 4 years weren't wasted. They taught me what I didn't want. Showed me the difference between someone who loves you and someone who loves the idea of controlling you. I closed the app, deleted the album, didn't need to look back anymore. I met someone new at a dinner party in September. My friend from the running group. He was helping in the kitchen. We talked for 2 hours. Books, travel, careers. He asked about my running. Seemed genuinely interested. Didn't mention my appearance once. The conversation felt easy, equal. Something I'd forgotten was possible. He asked for my number. I gave it to him. Curious, excited, nervous, but not afraid. I knew what red flags looked like now. I trusted myself to walk away. That self-trust was the best thing I got from leaving Dennis. He texted, dinner. I typed yes. Made plans for Friday. This felt different. This felt right. Voice becomes stronger, triumphant. A year after I took off that engagement ring, I was training for a full marathon. My body was strong. My mind was clear. I booked a trip to Iceland to see the northern lights, hike through lava fields. Work was going well. Another promotion. More responsibility. I was building a life where I took up space without apologizing. A life where my worth wasn't tied to how I looked in someone else's photos. I thought about the night Dennis asked me to lose weight and how small he tried to make me feel. I thought about taking off that ring and choosing myself. I had never been more proud of who I was becoming. And that's my story. It was a long, hard road, but every step was worth it. Slight chuckle. I'm curious, have any of you ever had a moment where you realized you were shrinking yourself for someone else? What did you do? Or maybe you're going through something similar right now. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd really love to hear from you.